Nationwide 90 FM, the new revolution in media. Stay ahead of the curve with our cutting-edge reporting and accurate breaking news coverage.
We are having an earthquake. Oh, God.
Hear it here first on Nationwide 90 FM. Tune in, turn up the volume, and listen. We bring a mix of news, entertainment, and sports to your lives.
Nationwide 90 FM's live and continuous coverage of the World Championships in Budapest, Hungary.
News and discussions week mornings.
Coming up in the news at 6 for this morning.
Entertainment in the afternoons, then news again in the evenings.
Nationwide news at this hour. Fired.
Also, tune in to the entertainment and sports shows in the nights and on the weekends.
It is Boy Things After Dark right here on Nationwide 90 FM.
Everything is news, from current affairs and entertainment to sports, business, and other categories.
Nationwide 90 FM. This is Beanie Man. Give it to them. Zaga, Zen.
From every whisper to every commotion.
That's rubbish. The KSAMC cannot investigate itself.
Every news story unfolds here first at Nationwide 90 FM, the new revolution in media. Every sound is a story, and every story we share is news.
Listen to Nationwide 90 FM on 90.1,
90.3,
90.7,
90.9,
or visit our Flow channel on a 916. To our valued listeners, for questions, comments, or concerns about our programs, email us at programs@nationwidenewsnetwork.com.
Buy more for less this summer, from cookware to curtains, comforters, and more. The time by H&L Rapid True Value is
Nationwide time, 5 o'clock.
Label Crafts Jamaica Limited offers exceptional finishes that will make your product extraordinary at an affordable cost. The Temperature by Label Crafts Jamaica Limited, the #1 choice for label printing is...
It is 30 degrees Celsius in Kingston and 31 in Montego Bay.
From the Nationwide News Network, comprehensive, incisive, tough, this is Nationwide at 5.
Good afternoon, I'm Robianne Williams.
And I'm Mahiri Stewart.
In Nationwide news at this hour, Jamaica's consumer confidence dipped slightly in the second quarter of 2026 as households grow wary of the prevailing economic conditions.
Consumer confidence fell by 2.3 percentage points in the last quarter. Fewer and fewer persons are considering that the current business conditions are good.
And concern grows about the decline in remittances and rising energy costs.
JLP condemns as shameful voice notes of PNP NEC members discussing tactics to tarnish Major General Anthony Anderson and delay the implementation of NARA.
This despicable behavior by the PNP is most disgraceful but not surprising.
The JCF says the assignment of close protection officers to public officials is not automatic or done arbitrarily.
JMDA urges the health minister to retract misleading statement about recent protest by interns at the UHWI.
In news from the rest of the world, state funeral for cricket legend Sir Garfield Sobers set for July 29.
U.S. Defense Secretary says Iran war has cost $37 billion.
In sports, Jamaica to battle champions Barbados in a regional under-19 cricket final.
And later in our broadcast, in our cover story at 5:35, consumer confidence fell by close to 2.3 percentage points in the second quarter of 2026, while business confidence increased by 2.3%. Vice President at the Jamaica Chamber of Commerce, Jamie Ogilvie, and Second Vice President of the Small Business Association of Jamaica, Denise Williams, will react to the findings of the latest business and consumer confidence survey.
In the nation's business at 6:25, transportation stakeholders are aggrieved by the impending rise in toll rates. We'll hear from the JUTA Kingston Chapter President Noel Williams and President of the All Voice Taxi Association, Lorraine Finnegan.
Taking you around the world at 6:45, at least 27 confirmed dead after ferry capsized in Guyana on the weekend. The captain and the first engineer have been arrested. Managing Director at Demerara Waves, Dennis Chabral, will tell us the latest. At 7, it's the comments section. This evening they're asking, on a scale of 1 to 5, how would you rate the performance of public healthcare workers? Give us your comments by logging on to our Facebook page, Nationwide News Network, and by tweeting us at Nationwide Radio, and message us on WhatsApp at 876-285-5693. You can also leave your comments on Instagram at Nationwide 90FM.
And at 8, it's Prescription for Life with Dr. Andre McDonald.
All these and more as we take you home on air, Nationwide 90FM, this Tuesday afternoon. It's Tuesday, July 21, 2026.
If it's news, it's got to be Nationwide 90 FM.
Now to the details. Jamaica's consumer confidence dipped slightly in the second quarter of 2026 as households grow wary of the prevailing economic conditions. That's according to the latest business and consumer survey from noted pollster and chairman of Market Research Services Limited, Don Anderson. The poll commissioned by the Jamaica Chamber of Commerce shows a steadying of business confidence, which still remains well below pre-Hurricane Melissa numbers. Shalois Michael tells us more.
The economy continues to feel the ill effects of Hurricane Melissa, with a second quarter contract of 4% compared to the same period for 2025. That has been compounded with inflationary concerns fueled by rising petrol prices due to the conflict in the Middle East. Chairman of Market Research Services Limited, Don Anderson, says this is reflective in the slight fall in consumer confidence for the period.
The key factor here is that consumer confidence fell by 2.3 percentage points in the last quarter. What is happening is that fewer and fewer persons are considering that the current business conditions are good. So we moved from 22.4% in the second quarter of 2025 to 16.8% in the first quarter of 2026, down even further to 16.2% in the second quarter. So consumers are becoming, cautious, conscious of challenges, wary of what's happening down the road. And what we find is that they have a less positive view of current business conditions.
Overall, Anderson highlights how consumer confidence has fallen off from the pre-election hype in late 2025 as Hurricane Melissa and the geopolitical tensions present a sobering reality.
We can see where people are very, very positive. They think it's going to get better. 51.2% in the third quarter of 2025. That's the month of the election. When we go all the way across to the extreme, which is the second quarter of 2026, we can see where the lines have crossed and people are less hopeful about the economic situation. So when you put all of these factors together, it clearly says that consumers are not as confident as they were before, not as confident. And these are the factors that have accounted for that change in consumer confidence. This is a chart which the data hardly ever changes because people are concluding that prices are going up. Prices were higher last year than before. And another factor which is contributing to the impact that the consumers are feeling.
Businesses, according to Anderson, have a more stable long-term view of the situation, with a slight improvement seen in their confidence levels for the second quarter. However, this still remains well below the pre-Melissa levels.
So far, for 2026, first two quarters, understandably, Melissa in October, severe impact on businesses, business confidence at the moment. Year to date, first and second quarter combined is 125.8 index compared to 136. So we were seeing a kind of even flow from 2022 post-COVID, 137, 139, 139, 136. So we're saying, that's kind of normal. Post-Melissa, business confidence was down. So whereas we see an increase in business confidence in the second quarter over the first quarter, again, we're nowhere back to where we were prior to Melissa.
The survey was conducted using an indicative national sample of 610 households and 118 businesses. Shalois Michael for Nationwide News.
Meanwhile, Anderson says there's a growing concern over a decline in remittances to the island as they represent a significant lifeline for many Jamaicans.
Probably one of the more worrying charts is this one. A year to date, we depend significantly on remittances. Remittances have been a solid performer in terms of shoring up the disposable income and the ability of people to survive. So it's a very important factor in people just living day to day. So far, remittances are reporting a 3% fall off compared to what we thought was a growing improvement. 30% in 2025 received remittances, nowhere near the peak of 38% in 2016, but beginning to pick up. What we've found so far for the year, remittances are down by 3 percentage points. If that continues, it will be a worrying factor.
He says another topical issue for many Jamaicans is rising energy costs.
So rising electricity costs on households. We have, 60% of the households indicating that they have had some significant impact, between moderate to severe impact, that they're obviously being challenged by the rising electricity cost on their household expenditure. And this is an important factor to note. What changes have they made? How have they responded to the rising energy costs? Well, 50%, 51% say we reduced our electricity usage. 31% said they're using fewer appliances. So they're applying a range of solutions. 29% said they purchased energy efficient appliances and bulbs. 21% have made no change. But the majority have responded in very strong ways to the rising in energy costs.
Don Anderson, chairman of Market Research Services Limited.
Chairman of Petrojam, Metro Siaga, says some $18 million has been absorbed by the company to cushion the impact of rising oil prices for motorists. Siaga says this would have represented a $40 per litre increase at the pumps had its pricing mechanism not been in place.
We recognized when the war started that prices were going up in some instances up to $40 per litre, and Petrojam was feeling significant impact from that cost. To date, Petrojam has spent about $18 million subsidizing the cost of fuel. We had to go to cabinet, we had to ask for permission to increase it from $4. Cabinet gave us a cap of $12.50 that we can increase by. So the increase that the consumers saw last week of $12.50 is not a real number. The real number is significantly higher than that.
On July 15, Petrojam announced an increase in the prices of automotive diesel oil and ultra-low sulfur diesel. In their statement, Petrojam said the price for each commodity would increase by $12.50 per litre at the pumps starting on July 16. This stemmed from the ongoing Middle Eastern conflict, which has choked shipping in the vital fuel corridor known as the Strait of Hormuz. The chairman was speaking at the launch of the Jamaica Chamber of Commerce's Consumer and Business Confidence Survey for the second quarter of 2026. Siaga sought to explain the pricing mechanism used by Petrojam to help the public cushion global oil shocks.
Wednesday morning, very early, the price comes out, and we add for the various things that we have control over. If that price came to more than $4.50, more than the price before, we would not increase the price more than $4.50. We are hopeful that when the prices come back down, we'll be able to reduce the price by less than the amount that it's coming down to catch up back that difference. Petrojam is doing everything that it can, and the government, by extension, has to give us back that money. The rationale for it is that if we were to move the prices where they should be moved to, it would be extremely inflationary. And the government, Prime Minister himself said, listen, inflation is very easy to go on and hard to come off.
Metro Siaga, chairman of Petrojam.
Scandalous and shameful. The governing Jamaica Labour Party JLP is condemning the PNP after two members of its powerful National Executive Committee, NEC, are heard in leaked voice notes discussing how to attack the CEO of the National Reconstruction and Resilience Authority, NARA, Major General Anthony Anderson. The voice notes lay bare the high stakes concerning NARA and how its success is likely to impact the outcome of the next general election in 2030. Siobhan Campbell tells us more.
The voice notes from the two NEC members have been the subject of much discussion across the political blogosphere ever since Nationwide News published our story on Monday afternoon. In the voice notes, the PNP members appear to be discussing what points to use to attack the government's implementation of NARA. It was suggested that besmirching General Anderson and casting him as a facilitator of corruption would not fly with the public, given his sterling record in public service.
Mario, the concern I'm raising is this, that Anderson's track record is not one full of blemish that it will be so easy to attach certain things to him. The corruption argument not going to be attached to him so easily, right? In my humble opinion, I think they've outsmarted us and then put in this man now to be a CEO and whatever. Reality is we need to ensure that the average Jamaican is saying we don't care who he is. He could have full of integrity like, wow, he could have been whatever. He's the man who sought out all of the hurricane relief that got it to Jamaica, whether we know it or not. So I would love for us to be able to put that information together, package it for the ground so that the average Jamaican can get that information.
Another PNP executive member suggested that delay tactics may be part of the approach to ensure the ruling JLP doesn't successfully implement NARA.
Bear in mind that the NARA bill is what the JLP sees as its glory and its savior for a fourth term and a fifth term and whatever. Speaking to some of them recently, some of the operatives, they see NARA as their way out to get back in tune with the Jamaican public, because they know them in a bad state, the public itself, with the cost of living and everything. So they see NARA as a saving grace, and they're going to do everything in their power to try to get whatever done, which means bypassing like our parish council, which, probably would do delay tactics and don't get it, which is why they did it that way. But safety standards and these things is a concern. So let's play our ball game of politics.
Darrell Vaz is co-chairman of the government's Melissa Relief and Recovery Committee. He's rejecting the comments made by members of the PNP's executive.
What is particularly shameful is that the audio reveals that despite the unprecedented natural disaster which devastated hundreds of thousands of Jamaicans, and despite the PNP publicly lamenting that the recovery effort should be faster, the same PNP at the highest level, at the level of their executive, has been caught discussing delay tactics. And to make matters worse, a member of their executive confessed they would consider implementing delay tactics. As one of the first parliamentarians on the ground, immediately after Melissa, I saw firsthand what was happening. It broke my heart. Having seen that, I cannot comprehend why anyone would seek to delay restoration for political reasons.
Vaz says the contents of the leaked voice notes are scandalous.
This despicable behavior by the PNP is most disgraceful, but not surprising, because we have seen these tactics implemented by the PNP before. Not long ago, they tried it with the rural school bus system. The PNP executive members' commitment to continue playing ball game of politics concerning NARA is downright scandalous. This is particularly troubling, especially for me, coming on the heels of the apology by the General Secretary of the PNP, and to realize that that apology obviously was not genuine, because they continue to plot to undermine and to bring people's reputation into disrepute, people who have served at the highest level in this country.
Siobhan Campbell for Nationwide News.
You're listening to Nationwide News at 5. More news after these.
It's IQ Optical's sizzling summer sale. For this month only, get 50% off lenses when you purchase a frame. Kids get free lenses with a purchase of a frame. Make the intelligent choice with IQ Optical. Conditions apply. The time by IQ Optical is
5:16.
Termites, rodents, or birds infesting your home or office? Call Rentokil Initial, the pest expert, at 876-926-4236 for a free pest assessment island-wide. The temperature brought to you by Rentokil Initial is...
It's 30 degrees Celsius in Kingston, 31 in Montego Bay.
Continuing the news, the Jamaica Constabulary Force JCF says the assignment of close protection officers CPOs to public officials is not automatic and is not done arbitrarily. In a statement on Tuesday, the JCF says it has noted comments circulating in the public domain about how CPOs are assigned and considers it important to clarify the process so the public has an accurate understanding of how those decisions are made. The statement follows remarks by the Member of Parliament for South St. James, the PNP's Nikisha Burchell. Mahiri Stewart tells us more.
Nikisha Burchell told the PNP Women's Movement Conference on Sunday that the lack of an assigned security detail has left her fearing for her safety.
Security for me is not only about physical protection. It is about whether women feel safe enough to lead. Can we speak about becoming targets? Can we disagree without intimidation? Can we be allowed to represent our people without wondering whether political disagreement in parliament will become something more sinister?
The JCF, in response, outlines that close protection officers are specially trained members of the constabulary attached to the Protective Services Division. That division decides who receives that level of security based on their office, duties, or circumstances. The JCF says certain constitutional and public offices attract close protection by virtue of the office itself. But where an individual does not automatically qualify, it says a comprehensive threat and risk assessment is carried out. This is done based on a range of factors, and the findings are documented and used to make the determination. The JCF notes that serving government ministers are assigned CPOs because of the offices they hold and the responsibilities attached to those portfolios. For members of parliament who are former ministers, the JCF says any continuation of close protection is decided through that same threat and risk assessment process. It says where an assessment finds that the level of risk no longer warrants a dedicated detail, alternative security measures may be considered. The constabulary adds that given the specialized nature of the work and the finite resources available, every assignment must be justified by a demonstrable security need. It notes that it has a responsibility to deploy those limited resources where they are most required. The statement did not mention Burchell by name, nor did it reveal whether the South St. James MP met the required risk assessment threshold for CPO assignment. The JCF says it remains committed to protecting all Jamaicans and that decisions on close protection are guided by professional risk assessment, operational necessity, and the responsible management of public resources. Mahiri Stewart for Nationwide News.
World in a Minute is brought to you by ABC Electrical Sales. We make things as easy as ABC. Hose assembly and supply, equipping Jamaica for success.
And Charles O'Connor Consulting Network, COCN, driven by international accounting standards, modern technology, and integrity.
The World in a Minute.
The state funeral for national hero and former West Indies cricket captain Sir Garfield Sobers will take place on July 29 at Kensington Oval. The Barbados government made the announcement on Tuesday. The cricket legend died last Friday at his home in Barbados. He was 89 years old. Sir Gary's cricketing career boasted several highlights, including setting the world record for runs scored in a test cricket match and his incredible 6 sixes in an over. He was named a national hero of Barbados in 1998, making him one of 11 persons to be bestowed the honor.
Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth has disclosed that the U.S. war against Iran has cost $37.5 billion. The U.S.-Israel war with Iran began on February 28 this year. It's the first time the cost of the war has been revealed by Pentagon officials. Hegseth provided the new estimate during testimony before the Senate Appropriations Committee on Tuesday. He also faced questions ahead of a $95 billion budget package to fund the military, aid farmers, and enact stricter voter registration rules.
World in a Minute was brought to you by ABC Electrical Sales. We make things as easy as ABC. Hose assembly and supply, equipping Jamaica for success.
And Charles O'Connor Consulting Network, COCN, driven by international accounting standards, modern technology, and integrity.
Recapping the top stories making nationwide news at this hour, Jamaica's consumer confidence dipped slightly in the second quarter of 2026 as households grow wary of the prevailing economic conditions.
JLP condemns as shameful voice notes of PNP executives discussing tactics to tarnish Major General Anthony Anderson and delay the implementation of NARA.
JCF says the assignment of close protection officers to public officials is not automatic or done arbitrarily. I'm Robeanne Williams.
And I'm Mahiri Stewart.
You can find the news on our website at nationwideradiojm.com and join the Nationwide Family Club at patreon.com/Nationwide News Network. News next, the headlines at 6.
Nationwide 90 FM, continuing the tradition of fair, fearless, and factual reporting.
News on the go. The latest stories from Jamaica and around the world are literally a finger tap away. Keep up to date with Team Revolution 24 hours a day online via nationwideradiojm.com. Listen live, read the latest stories, hear every soundbite. Be a part of the vibrant online debate via Facebook and Twitter. Now you can get all your favorite premium nationwide content at your convenience. Visit the Android Play Store and download it for free today. NationwideRadioJM.com. All day, every day. Team Revolution.
Sports at 5 is brought to you by Total Tools. Total Tools, every tool, every trade.
Hello, good afternoon, and welcome to Sports here on Nationwide 90 FM. I'm Wayne Walker. We start with news on cricket because New Zealand, they were sent into bat, and at sports time they are 255 for 8 after 48 overs and 3 balls. And this at sports time against the West Indies in the 5th and final game of their one-day international series. The game being played at the Kensington Oval in Bridgetown, Barbados. Wicketkeeper Tom Latham led the way. He was just dismissed for 6-9. He got good support from Nick Kelly, who made 64, and Will Young 56. Vital Laws and Alzari Joseph have so far taken 2 wickets apiece, and there's been 1 apiece for Alzari Joseph got 2, Vital Laws 2, and there's 1 apiece to Gudakesh Moti and Matthew Ford. New Zealand, they've already won the series. They have an unassailable 3-1 lead and looking to wrap up the series 4-1. And Jamaica will battle the defending champions Barbados in the final of the Cricket West Indies Rising Stars on the 19 Championship. The game to be played at Liberty Sports Complex in Antigua on Wednesday starting at 9 in the morning Jamaica time. The Barbados team topped the regular season standings. They amassed 35.6 points, and this after winning all 5 of their group games. The Jamaicans finished the second with 20.2 points. They won 4 of the 5 games. Their only defeat came against the Leeward Islands, and that's on the opening weekend of the championship. Trinidad and Tobago, they finished the 3rd, so they'll battle for the bronze medal with the Leeward Islands, who were 4th, while Guyana and the Windward Islands, who finished at the foot of the table, will battle not to finish last in the overall championship. And Tyrese Chase Gordon Jr. was the 4th highest aggregate scorer at the tournament. Of course, he's Jamaican. He scored 214 runs from 5 innings. Gadson Bowen, the captain of Barbados, he led all scorers with 299 runs. Perico Henry, another Jamaican, he bagged the 10 wickets, and he was 5th most prolific in the bowling department, while Pajay Nelson had the 3rd most dismissal as a wicketkeeper. He had 5 victims. Horse racing, the Diamond Mile for Grade 1 horses makes a return to Cape Manus Park after 6 years. The event, which carries a $10 million purse, will be run this Saturday, and is also a qualifier for the Mute Mile this December. Speaking at Tuesday's post-position draw, Neville Nelson, Senior Vice President at Supreme Ventures Racing and Entertainment Limited, SVREL, says the excitement is at fever pitch.
Today's draw marks a defining moment in the continued evolution of horse racing in Jamaica. It is also a major milestone in the renewed partnership between Supreme Ventures Racing and Entertainment Limited and the Jamaica Racing Committee. Together, we are setting a stronger, more strategic foundation for the future of the sport. When the discussions began earlier this year and the decision had been made to reintroduce the Diamond Mile, my team was very excited to welcome back this prestigious race in the 2026 racing calendar. The Diamond Mile has always represented excellence, bringing together top-tier talent, competitive spirit, and the kind of excellence that defines world-class racing.
And the reigning horse of the year, Ride All Day, he will break from gate 13. The 13-horse field also includes the likes of Legacy and Nautical Star and Fun Can Done. Nelson says he's expecting a fast race, and he's also believing that Shiza Manita's 2019 record could be under threat.
As we look ahead to the Diamond Mile this weekend, we once again thank our patrons, Jamaica Racing Commission, and their role in bringing back this prestigious race. We will now see if any contender can challenge the standing Diamond Mile record of 135.1 set by the outstanding Shiza Manito.
That's, of course, Nelson. He's Neville Nelson. He's the Senior Vice President of Supreme Ventures Racing and Entertainment Limited, SVREL. The 2026 Commonwealth Games will begin in 2 days' time in Glasgow, Scotland. Jamaica's quest for medal will start a day later. The women's 3-on-3 wheelchair basketball team will be the first in action from Jamaica. They will play 3 games on Friday, starting with a showdown against Uganda in the morning session on the Friday, that's Friday coming, before a pair of games the same day later in the afternoon session. They'll play the Cayman Islands and against Australia. Now the men's team will bow into action the following day on Saturday. They too have 3 games on the day. They start with a matchup against England before facing Fiji and Singapore to close out Saturday. The national netball team will also be in action on Saturday, a busy day for Jamaica. They will open their campaign for a gold medal in the netball competition. They battle, guess who? Trinidad and Tobago, and that game is scheduled for 11 o'clock in the morning Jamaica time on Saturday. Games against New Zealand on Sunday, Uganda on Monday, and they'll close out with Scotland and Wales in the group stage. Athletics will begin on Monday, July 27. Now Jamaica's 76 strong squad should all be assembled in Glasgow by the weekend, and of course they're taking part in 10 sporting disciplines combined. That's athletics, swimming, 3-on-3 wheel basketball, judo, and weightlifting amongst them. Jamaica won 15 medals at the last Commonwealth Games in 2022, and that included 6 gold, 7 silver, and a pair of bronze. And finally, in sports at this time, top British football referee Anthony Taylor has called time on his career after 20 years. The 47-year-old announced his retirement upon his return from the FIFA World Cup, which ended on Sunday in New Jersey. He was in charge of that high-profile round of 16 game between Spain, the eventual champions, and Portugal, which Spain won 1-0 courtesy of Mikel Merino. The Taylor was also in the middle for the 2024 European Champions League final between Real Madrid and Borussia Dortmund. He was also in charge of 3 FA Cup finals in England. It was only last October that Taylor highlighted how mentally demanding refereeing at the elite level can be.
In what realm is an adult shouting verbal abuse to a referee or a young player who is under 18 years of age acceptable? In football it is, because every single weekend you can go to any local park across the UK and you can see a parent on the sideline verbally abusing a young referee. You could see a coach shouting at a young player because they haven't scored a goal or taken a bad free kick. Now that's not an environment conducive to people getting better and enjoying. I don't understand how people think that's acceptable still. That's
Anthony Taylor, the 47-year-old British referee, stepping away from elite refereeing. And before we go, let's just give you an update, the latest on the one-day international over there at the Kensington Oval in Bridgetown. The New Zealand team, they were sent into bat by West Indies. At the moment, they are 264 for 8 in 49 overs and 4 balls. So there are 2 balls remaining in the inning. They are 268 now for 8 with 1 ball in their innings at 49 overs and 5 balls. That will do it for sport. We're going to be back at 6:05 for much more.
Sports at 5 was brought to you by Total Tools. Total Tools, every tool, every trade.
For all your custom framing, printing, graphic design, and purchase of art, Make It Frame Art Jamaica Limited, serving you for over 40 years. The time by Frame Art Jamaica is
5:32.
From the vibrant waterfront setting of Ocho Rios Bay Beach to the breathtaking seascape of Laughing Waters, discover exceptional venues for your special events. The temperature by the Urban Development Corporation is
30 degrees Celsius here in the nation's capital, Kingston. It's at 31 in the western city, Montego Bay.
Every day, Jamaicans have something to say. In the group chats, on social media, in the streets, there's a place where it all comes together. The comment section. This is not a lecture. This is not a call-in show. This is the hottest topics of the day, filtered through real opinions, real WhatsApp messages, real voice notes, real reactions. You agree, disagree, sound off, text it, voice note it, debate it. Comments section, Monday to Friday from 7 to 7:30 p.m. only on Nationwide 90 FM, the new revolution in media. Turn up the heat with Hot Listing, Nationwide 90 FM's new on-air and online classifieds feature. If you have a car for sale, room for rent, or yard sale come up. If you look at work or need stuff. If you provide a service, make it a Hot Listing, Nationwide 90 FM's new on-air and online classified segment. Your listing plays again and again. From morning till evening. You sing it, we play it. You say it once, Jamaica hears it all day, every hour. Contact our sales team now at 876-630-1210 or sales at nationwidenewsnetwork.com. Hot Listings on Nationwide 90 FM, a new revolution in media.
Good afternoon, listeners, viewers. Welcome. It's time for Nationwide at 5. You're in the cover story. Again, I'm your host, Siobhan Campbell. And again, special shout out to our YouTubers this evening. I trust all is well. I hope you're having a very lovely afternoon, because our topic today is business and consumer confidence. The latest JCC Business and Consumer Survey is out, and according to it, consumer confidence dipped slightly in the second quarter of 2026 as households grow weary of the prevailing economic conditions. That's according to the latest Business and Consumer Survey from noted pollster and chairman of Market Research Services Limited, Don Anderson. The poll commissioned by the Jamaica Chamber of Commerce shows a steadying of business confidence, which still remains well below pre-Hurricane Melissa numbers. The economy continues to feel the ill effects of Hurricane Melissa, with a second quarter contraction of 4% compared to the same period for 2025. That has been compounded with inflationary concerns fueled by rising petrol prices due to the conflict in the Middle East. Well, Chairman of Market Research Services Limited, Don Anderson, says this is reflective in the slight fall in consumer confidence for the period, and overall Anderson highlights how consumer confidence has fallen off from the pre-election hype in late 2025 as Hurricane Melissa and geopolitical tensions present a sobering reality.
We can see where people are very, very positive. They think it's going to get better. 51.2% in the third quarter of 2025. That's the month of the elections. When we go all the way across to the extreme, which is the second quarter of 2026, we can see where the lines have crossed, and people are less hopeful about the economic situation. So when you put all of these factors together, it clearly says that consumers are not as confident as they were before, not as confident. And these are the factors that have accounted for that change in consumer confidence. This is a chart which the data hardly ever changes, because people are concluding that prices are going up. Prices were higher last year than before. And another factor which is contributing to the impact that the consumers are feeling.
Well, according to Anderson, businesses have a more stable long-term view of the situation, with a slight improvement seen in their confidence levels for the second quarter. However, this still remains well below the pre-Melissa levels.
There has been a slight increase in business confidence, 2.3% increase in business confidence quarter two over quarter one. We'll recognize from the next chart that even though there has been an increase in business confidence in the second quarter, business confidence is still lagging behind 25 and beyond. So far, for 2026, first two quarters, understandably, Melissa in October, business confidence at the moment, year to date, first and second quarter combined, is 125.8 index compared to 136. Whereas we see an increase in business confidence in the second quarter over the first quarter, again, we're nowhere back to where we were prior to Melissa.
That's Don Anderson, Chairman of Market Research Services Limited. Well, joining us now to discuss further is the third Vice President of the Jamaica Chamber of Commerce, Jamie Ogilvie, and second Vice President of the Small Business Association of Jamaica, Denise Williams. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen.
Good afternoon. Thank you for having me on the program.
Hi, good afternoon to you and your listeners and viewers. Thanks for having me.
It's good to hear from you both. Starting with the lady before the gentleman, Denise Williams, did Don Anderson hit the nail on the head in terms of the business confidence? Are we seeing where there's a slight improvement, but people still a little sedated as a result of the Hurricane Melissa situation?
Well, one of the things SBAJ is working on is really disaggregating what you mean by business, because we have the micro, the small, the medium, and the larger enterprises. For the small and for the micro and the small, I don't even think that 1% uptick is relevant. I think they are under tremendous pressure, and I think they're actually the first line that was hit, whether COVID or Melissa. They get hit the hardest, and they get hit first. So recovery is much slower.
So tell me, is that unique as a result of what has happened as a result of Hurricane Melissa, or are you suggesting that the unique pressures of that segment of the economy has just remained throughout?
Yes. What is unique is that a micro business, a cook shop, for example, is expected to operate from a compliance perspective, from a bank perspective, the same as Grace Kennedy. And so because that's not their reality and they don't have the internal support or internal capacity to have that level of a banking relationship, they can't pull on resources as quickly to recover. And so recovery is a function of how many widgets they can sell. You see what I'm saying? And so if the consumers they're selling to feel the pinch, then they're not selling as much, and therefore there's not as much cash flowing in. So that's what's unique.
So under the circumstances, you feel more needs to be done to essentially support the recovery among that sector?
Yeah, I think what's unique is that resilience for a micro and a small enterprise is very different for resilience from a medium enterprise and a large enterprise. And we need to have conversations that categorize operations in that way so that we can be more sensitive to what they need. And that we can serve better.
And Jamie Ogilvie, under the same matter of confidence in terms of businesses, do you see that reflective of the poll brought by Don Anderson, that there is a slight improvement in the confidence as we go into the latter parts now of 2026? Or are you seeing where there is still some concerns about where things are?
I think it's a fair assessment, Siobhan, and I agree with Denise about the disaggregating between micro and small and medium and large enterprises. You have to consider everything in the context of, one, the scale of business operations, and two, the continuum of time from, let's go back to Beryl. So in the second quarter of last year, recovering business was well and truly on track. That's why the numbers then in that quarter, which is a comparative period, were as good as they were. In this quarter period, second quarter of 2026, we have just come through the shock of Melissa in October of last year, which was getting into the final quarter of the year when confidence for both consumers and businesses plummeted. And then we met with the war in Iran in the first quarter of this year, and the geopolitical issues surrounding all of that. A lot of uncertainty. Larger businesses immediately started to pivot and adjust and have now developed confidence in their own adjustments to kind of drive this marginal uptick in business confidence. But consumers are faced with pricing pressures. Small businesses are faced with supply chain pressures. all these things. And so from an individual consumer to a micro small business to a medium to large, there are going to be different responses. And there's a lag in the consumer and the micro and small businesses relative to the medium and large enterprises. And that's why I think you're seeing that difference in how those different groups view economic conditions and how it applies to them.
And while the recovery is in full swing and things will potentially get better as the year continues, heading into 2027, as the macroeconomists suggest, at the scale of a business operation, do you see where that stability is going to transform into greater confidence?
Absolutely. Stability is a bedrock for business. It's what you can plan against. If you can get predictability and stability, no matter how high your input costs are, you can plan against it, you can set your business model, and you will work on it. That's what businesses do. As a going concern, you work with the information you have, and if you have a fair degree of confidence that these are going to remain stable, then you can make your plans and continue to be viable out there in the marketplace.
Ladies and gentlemen, please stay with us. We are up on a break and we'll be right back.
Visit Marshall's Pharmacy, Greater Portmore, for all your prescription needs, gifts, personal care, household, and stationery items. The temperature by Marshall's Pharmacy, Greater Portmore is...
It's 32 degrees Celsius here in the capital city, Kingston, and it's 30 out west in Montego Bay.
Valley, we a big deal when we touch ground. Yeah, I can't see when we're pulling up. Anything for the taste what we love. Barbecue, spicy and original, flavorful, crispy, irresistible. 3 piece with the fries and a Pepsi. Bro, get your one big deal, stop stress me. All when we dip on the toilet, no left foot. Anything for the taste of a juicy, crunchy, irresistible KFC big deal. 3 pieces of delicious chicken, fries and Pepsi. KFC, it's finger licking good.
For all your electrical needs, visit ABC Electrical Sales. They stock a wide variety of electrical supplies including plugs, switches, panel boards and conduits, plus energy-saving fixtures. ABC Electrical Sales stocks brands like GE, Siemens, Philips, Cutler Hammer and Allen Bradley. They also offer free island-wide delivery just to suit your needs. Visit them at Shop 8, Hagley Park Plaza, Kingston 10, or call 876-754-3714-5 or 876-754-3825-8. ABC Electrical Sales, for a better choice in the electrical business.
Turn up the heat with Hot Listing, Nationwide 90FM's new on-air and online classifieds feature. If you have a car for sale, room for rent, or yard sale come up. If you look at work or need stuff. If you provide a service, make it a Hot Listing, Nationwide 90FM's new on-air and online classified segment. Your listing plays again and again. From morning till evening. You sing it, we play it. You say it once, Jamaica hears it all day, every hour. Contact our sales team now at 876-630-1210 or sales at nationwidenewsnetwork.com. Hot Listings on Nationwide 90FM, a new revolution in media.
Welcome back, listeners, viewers, to the cover story. You're with me, your host, Siobhan Campbell. I'm talking to the third Vice President of the Jamaica Chamber of Commerce, Jamie Ogilvie, and second Vice President of the Small Business Association of Jamaica, Denise Williams. And we're looking at the latest, the second quarter JCC Business and Consumer Confidence Survey, showing a slight dip in consumer confidence and a slight uptick in business confidence for that second quarter. So, Denise Williams, because you're association, your members have a more intimate relationship with your customers as a result of just the scale of operations. When it comes to the concerns about pricing and how inflation has impacted each person at the pocket, are you getting those concerns and complaints at that level?
Okay, so the Small Business Association, when our members, when we get together, as we did, almost 1,000 persons came to the Pegasus last Thursday for our Growth and Resilience Conference. We are price takers, okay?
Denise? Denise, are you there? I think she dropped, unfortunately. Jamie Ogilvy, are you with us?
Yeah, I'm here with you.
So I put the question in a different way to you because JCC has a more broader membership than the SBAJ. Under the circumstances, with the concerns about energy prices, fuel prices, etc., are you seeing where this is reflective in the mood of businesses, or is this just another layer of something that businesses tend to plan for long term?
It has to be something that we plan for the long term. 40% of the Chamber's membership are actually micro, small, and medium businesses. We have a very diverse membership base, and as I said, the largest percentage of that is on the smaller side of the scale. But costs are just another variable that we have to plan against as businesses, regardless of your scale. And Denise made a very good point about her membership being price takers. Well, the truth is that we all are price takers. Jamaica is a very small market in a large global environment where we import most of our raw materials and things that we need for our businesses, and we are all price takers. But the impact and the pricing pressures of all of those increased prices coming through our various supply chains impact all of us, right down to the individual cook shop. I think there was the example Denise used earlier. As much as it is to a large manufacturer and distributor like Grace or Jamaica Broilers, everybody is faced with these pricing pressures. It's about how you plan against it, and this, as I go back to the point about if we can get some predictability and stability, then it eases a lot of those tensions. A lot of the increases that are coming down the pipeline to us, we can't pass it on. It would just blow inflation out of the water. So we have to absorb some, pass on what we think is appropriate and manageable, but everybody is facing the pricing pressures.
Denise, I understand you're back with us.
Thank you.
So I want you to finish your point. You were cut off when you said that your organization essentially are price takers, but you were not able to finish that point.
Right. So part of the challenge of being a price taker, but being a micro and small business, is back to the owner capability. So capacity building is one of the ways that the SBAJ wants to work with our partners in the ecosystem. Are you hearing me?
Yes, continue.
Okay, yeah. So capacity building is how we want to work with our partners in the ecosystem, because being able to plan, being able to anticipate is part of the toolkit of success that moves you to the next level and keeps confidence high.
And how do you pursue that capacity building? In what areas would that be key to improve?
Well, one of the number one is for our members, and in fact the wider 425,000 MSMEs in Jamaica, is to have better banking relationships, right? Which means they need to have better relationships with their accountants. We also need capacity building in the space of strategic planning and leadership. So some of the things that are taken for granted at the large scale, where, executives attend conferences and, get certain levels of training. When you are the head cook and bottle washer of your business, you may not have the time. So we want to help our members to make time, and we want to be able to deliver the capacity building in a way that meets their needs. So again, further dialogue. But we don't want to be a talk shop. We want to get with our partners and make things happen. So we have, anticipation that in 90 days we will have announcements that's going to help to build further capacity of our members so that we can get these consumer confidence and business confidence numbers up because we're better resourced.
And tell me, Denise, under the circumstances, we are still just about a little over 8 months or so past Hurricane Melissa, and we are coming to the second half now of the year 2026. Under the circumstances, do you see a return of the level of confidence that the country enjoyed, that the businesses specifically enjoyed before the Hurricane Melissa within this 2026-2027 period? Or are you seeing a longer runway for us to return to that?
Definitely a longer runway. We have to be aware that the concept of us being in a hurricane alley has changed so many things. Access to financing means you need a better plan to show the bank how you're going to repay even if something else happens, right? You have to now budget for solar and generators, those kind of resilient items. So things have changed. So to go back to baseline would be unrealistic in a short term, and 12 months being a short term.
So definitely more time is needed. And Jamie Ogilvy, you raised a point about there needing to be a greater sense of stability and understanding going forward in terms of the predictability of the market itself. But is that not being provided through, for example, the pricing mechanism by Petrojam at the fuel pumps, as explained by Metro Siaga during today's survey launch, that the government is trying to hold the line essentially for businesses and consumers just to make sure that things do not get too out of hand? Do you see that as reflected in the market?
Siobhan, that cap is only a function of what is happening in the wider global environment. 3 weeks ago, there was an expectation that the conflict in Iran and in the Strait of Hormuz was at an end, and oil prices began to trend down. And then last week, it's up again. We don't know what's going to happen, but that pricing mechanism, if oil prices continue to go up, then every week you're going to get a $12.50 increase on your fuel bill at the pump, and it can keep going up by $12.50 every week. But it may not suffice to cover the increased costs that are coming at the country, but it is going to give Petrojam a little bit better results and outcome. But it is, as I said, we are a price taker. We are subject to what happens in the global environment as a very small marketplace in the world. And so we have to kind of be flexible and ready to pivot very quickly. And the larger you are, the quicker, the more capacity you have to pivot relative to the micro and small. I mean, Denise was correct. If you don't build capacity and equip people with the tools to understand how to manage their business so that they can be flexible and plan for contingencies that the financial institutions are asking for, then you're going to be limiting the ability of that business to really respond to the future. And I mean, I can tell you instances whether it's large or small meat retailers, supermarkets, corner shops, or farm store operators, large or small. The larger the operation and the more capacity that they have and the more knowledge they have and training, which is why as a company we spend a lot of time helping our distributors and dealers to build capacity in running their business. Cash flow is not profit. Sales is not profit. And you have to plan ahead 12 months to 3 years down the road. How am I looking to structure my business? And what is my contingency? The farmer in the field who gets up every morning at 4:30 and is plowing and looking after his animals and is done by the heat of midday. They have a different outlook on what business means for them, vis-a-vis, the farm store owner, vis-a-vis the distributor, vis-a-vis the multi-location business of enterprise.
And all of their profits and futures hinge on a very unstable gentleman in Washington, D.C., I suppose.
Those are your words. It hinges on the stability of the global market, because that's where, as I said, our raw materials come from. Whatever factors, individual or otherwise, affect that global market is what is going to impact us here in a very real and personal way, and in some cases in a very corporate way as well.
Very diplomatic and well put. That is the third president of the Jamaica Chamber of Commerce, Jamie Ogilvie. And we also had along with us the second vice president of the Small Business Association of Jamaica, Denise Williams. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us. And we here at Nationwide hope all improves for us as well as the wider business and consumer community as the year continues. Thank you for joining me.
Thank you.
Thanks, Yvonne. Thanks for having us. Thanks, Denise. Thanks to your viewers and listeners.
The headlines are next, listeners. Please stay tuned, and then we come back at 6:25.
What's everyone talking about? It's Front Page in This Morning. Get the issue of the day this and every weekday morning at 7:20 a.m. on Front Page. This Morning. Morning radio the right way. Front Page is brought to you by ABC Electrical for a better choice in the electrical business. Looking to rent a fully operational production studio? Then Nationwide 90 FM has got you covered. We have flexible options to meet your recording needs any day of the week. Monday to Fridays, 9 a.m. to 8 p.m. Saturdays and Sundays available upon request. Bookings must be made in advance. Call us today at 630-1210. Let us help you reach your production desires.
The time brought to you by Guardian Life. Live secure, live easy is 6 o'clock.
Nationwide headlines at 6.
Good evening with the headlines at 6. I'm Nora Gay Banton. Jamaica's consumer confidence dipped slightly in the second quarter of 2026 as households grow wary of the prevailing economic conditions. That's according to the latest Business and Consumer Survey from noted pollster and chairman of Market Research Services Limited, Don Anderson. The poll commissioned by the Jamaica Chamber of Commerce shows a steadying of business confidence, which still remains well below pre-Hurricane Melissa numbers. The economy continues to feel the ill effects of Hurricane Melissa, with a second quarter contract of 4% compared to the same period for 2025. That has been compounded with inflationary concerns fueled by rising petrol prices due to the conflict in the Middle East. Chairman of Market Research Services Limited, Don Anderson, says this is reflective in the slight fall in consumer confidence for the period. Overall, Anderson highlights how consumer confidence has fallen off from the pre-election hype in late 2025 as Hurricane Melissa and geopolitical tensions present a sobering reality. Meanwhile, Anderson says there's a growing concern over a decline in remittances to the island as they represent a significant lifeline for many Jamaicans. He says another topical issue for many Jamaicans is rising energy costs. Chairman of Petrojam, Metri Siaga, says some $18 million has been absorbed by the company to cushion the impact of rising oil prices. Siaga says this would have represented a $40 per litre increase at the pumps had its pricing mechanism not been in place. On July 15, Petrojam announced an increase in the prices of automotive diesel oil and ultra-low sulfur diesel. In their statement, Petrojam said the price for each commodity would increase by $12.50 per litre at the pumps starting on July 16. This stemmed from the ongoing Middle Eastern conflict, which has choked shipping in the vital fuel corridor known as the Strait of Hormuz. The chairman was speaking at the launch of the Jamaica Chamber of Commerce's Consumer and Business Confidence Survey for the second quarter of 2026. Siaga sought to explain the pricing mechanisms used by Petrojam to help the public cushion global oil shocks. A passenger on a bus operated by the Jamaica Urban Transit Company JUTC died after suffering a medical emergency on Tuesday morning. The JUTC in a release says the passenger was traveling on Route 512, which runs between Mandeville, Manchester and Kingston. The company says that during the journey, a commuter alerted the driver that the passenger was having difficulty breathing. Upon receiving the report, the driver diverted the bus towards the nearest hospital to seek urgent medical assistance. While en route, the bus was intercepted by members of the Jamaica Constabulary Force who facilitated the passenger's transfer to the hospital. Despite the efforts of the driver and the responding officers, the passenger was pronounced dead by medical personnel. The JUTC says it is deeply saddened by the tragic loss and extends sympathies to the family, friends, and loved ones of the deceased passenger. The Jamaica Medical Doctors Association, JMDA, is calling on Health Minister Dr. Christopher Tufton to retract what it describes as a misleading statement about the recent protest action by interns at the University Hospital of the West Indies, UHWI. The JMDA's call is in response to a video posted by Dr. Tufton on his Instagram account on Monday. In the video, the minister said he empathized with the interns. But in a statement released on Tuesday, the JMDA said the minister incorrectly said interns protested in the Accident and Emergency Department over a shortage of bed spaces for patients. According to JMDA, the June 24 protest was instead focused on their working conditions. The JMDA says interns across the island were highlighting concerns about what it described as brutal work schedules, including shifts that extend beyond 48 hours without adequate rest. The association says many interns also lack suitable spaces to sleep and recover after long shifts. The JMDA is calling on Dr. Tufton to correct his statement, apologize to the interns, and provide what it says is an accurate account of the circumstances surrounding the protest. Those were the headlines at 6. I'm Nora Gay. Banton Sports is next.
Love the vibes, the laughs, and the real talk? Then you're one of us. Don't just listen, belong. Join the nationwide 90FM Family Club on Patreon.
Every great project starts at Creative Building Finishes, Jamaica's only choice for the best tiles, best bathrooms, and best kitchens. Whether you're designing, building, renovating, or selecting materials for your next project, we offer exceptional quality, standout designs, and expert guidance you can trust. Visit our showroom in Kingston or Traxall, or explore full range online at www.creativebuildingfinishes.com. Creative Building Finishes, your beautiful finish begins here.
Come into the parlor, there's a welcome there for you.
Welcome to the Mayor's Parlor with Desmond McKenzie.
From 1 to 7 p.m. every Sunday, you'll now get more of your favorite vintage music.
Put your head on my shoulder.
Nationwide 90 FM will transform your Sunday into a musical time machine that will take you way back.
Come with me. Let's go back in time.
This magic moment.
Journey into yesteryear with Desmond McKenzie in the Mayor's Parlor.
I've got the music to jog your memory and make you smile.
Put your sweet lips a little closer to the phone.
Sit back, relax, and enjoy the best in vintage music.
Come into the Mayor's Parlor every Sunday between 1 and 7 p.m. here on Nationwide 90 FM, a revolution in media.
Those oldies but goodies reminds me of you.
Hello, good evening, and welcome to Sports here on Nationwide 90 FM. I'm Wayne Walker, and we start with an update from the fifth and final one-day international over at the Kensington Oval in Bridgetown, Barbados, between the West Indies and New Zealand, where the Windies are replying to 268 for 9 made by the Kiwis. At the minute, the Windies are 3 without loss, and they're just coming to the end of over number 2. So New Zealand sent into bat 268 for 9, and the West Indies are 3 without loss at the minute. The New Zealand innings was led by Tom Latham, the wicketkeeper. He made 69, and he got support from Nick Kelly, who weighed in with 64, and Willie Young 56. There are 2 wickets apiece for Alzarri Joseph and Vital Laws, the young Jamaican. The Kiwis are leading the series by 3-1 and are looking to close out with a 4-1 series win. West Indies, conversely, are looking to bring some respectability to the score to make it 3-2 at the end of the day. So 2 overs completed, West Indies 3 without loss, responding to 268 for 9. And Jamaica will be battling Barbados, the defending champions, for the regional Cricket West Indies Rising Stars under 19 cricket title. That's on Wednesday at the Liberta Sports Complex in Antigua. The Barbados team, they topped the group in the preliminary stage, winning all 5 of their matches, and they ended up with 35.6 points. The Jamaicans were second with 20.2 points. The Jamaicans winning 4 of 5 games, losing only to the Leeward Islands. And the game is set to bowl off at 9 o'clock in the morning Jamaica time on Wednesday. And of course, there are 2 other games on the day. Trinidad and Tobago, they finished 3rd in the overall championship, and they'll take on the Leeward Islands in the 3rd place playoff for the bronze medal. And Guyana and the Windward Islands, who finished at the foot of the table, they'll also meet in a game to determine which team will finish at the bottom of the table. Some horse racing now for you. The Diamond Mile for Grade 1 horses makes a return to Cape Manus Park after 6 years. The event carries a purse of $10 million, and it will be run this Saturday, and of course it's a direct qualifier for the lucrative Mute Mile in December. And speaking at Tuesday's post position draw, Neville Nelson, who is Senior Vice President at Supreme Ventures Racing and Entertainment Limited, SVREL, says the excitement for the event is at fever pitch.
Today's draw marks a defining moment in the continued evolution of horse racing in Jamaica. It is also a major milestone in the renewed partnership between Supreme Ventures Racing and Entertainment Limited and the Jamaica Racing Committee. Together, we are setting a stronger, more strategic foundation for the future of the sport. When the discussion began earlier this year and the decision had been made to reintroduce the Diamond Mile, my team was very excited to welcome back this prestigious race in the 2026 racing calendar. The Diamond Mile has always represented excellence, bringing together top-tier talent, competitive spirit, and the kind of excellence that defines world-class racing.
Yeah. And of course, the reigning horse of the year, Ride All Day, he will run from gate number 13. It's a full field. All 13 gates are taken. And it also includes the likes of Legacy Al, Nautical Star, and Fun Can Done. Nelson says he's expecting a very, very fast race. In fact, he believes the 2019 track record by Shiza Manita could be under threat.
As we look ahead to the Diamond Mile this weekend, we once again thank our patrons, Jamaica Racing Commission, and their role in bringing back this prestigious race. We will now see if any contender can challenge the standing Diamond Mile record of 135-1 set by the outstanding Shiza Manito.
That's Neville Nelson. And the latest over at Kensington Oval, the West Indies They are now 11 without loss after 2 overs, reminding you they're responding to 268 for 9 made by New Zealand. And this, of course, is in the 5th and final game of their one-day international series. Some news on the Commonwealth Games. The 2026 staging will be underway in about 2 days from now in Glasgow, Scotland. But Jamaica will bow into action the following day. And it's going to be a busy day for the Jamaicans because the women's 3-on-3 wheelchair basketball team will be in action. They've got 3 games on the Friday. They start with a morning game against Uganda. Then later on that same day, they have the Cayman Islands and Australia to take on. The men's team will be in action the following day. That's on Saturday. They too have 3 games to play. They start with a game against England in the morning, and a little later in the day, they'll take on Fiji and Singapore. The national netball team will also be in action on that same day. That's on the Saturday. They open against their Caribbean rivals, the bitter Caribbean rivals, Trinidad and Tobago. They come back the next day to take on New Zealand. Then they'll take on Uganda on the Monday. Then they close out the group stages against Scotland and Wales before heading on to the quarterfinals. Athletics will get underway on Monday, July 27. 76 members will be representing Jamaica in 10 disciplines at the Commonwealth Games. And of course, in addition to the wheelchair basketball and netball, we've got swimming and athletics and judo as well as weightlifting. And the Jamaicans got some 15 medals from the last Commonwealth Games in 2022 with a breakdown of 6 gold, 7 silver and 2 bronze. News on football. Top British football referee Anthony Taylor has called time on his career after 20 years. The 47-year-old announces retirement upon return from the FIFA World Cup finals, which ended 3 days ago in New Jersey. Taylor was in charge of that very high-profile game between Spain, the defended eventual champions, and Portugal, which ended 1-0 in favor clearly of Spain. Mikel Merino coming off the bench to scoring that one. Taylor was also the man with the whistle in the 2024 European Champions League final between Real Madrid and Borussia Dortmund, and he also refereed 3 FA Cup finals. It was only in October last year that Taylor was explaining how mentally draining refereeing at the elite level can be.
In what realm is an adult shouting verbal abuse to a referee or a young player who is under 18 years of age acceptable? In football it is, because every single weekend you can go to any local park across the UK and you can see a parent on the sideline verbally abusing a young referee. You could see a coach shouting at a young player because they haven't scored a goal or taken a bad free kick. Now that's not an environment conducive to people getting better and enjoying. I don't understand how people think that's acceptable still.
Over 800 games, Anthony Taylor well played. President of the Spanish Football Association, Javier Tebas, has accused football's world governing body FIFA of acting irresponsibly following the announcement of discussions regarding a possible 64-team World Cup in 2030. Tebas also said that Gianni Infantino's time as a FIFA boss was, quote, over, adding that there's a system that is fundamentally flawed, which has allowed him to be in charge of the federation for over a decade. Tebas says FIFA is destroying the football industry, which generates tens of thousands of jobs for an event that lasts 40 days and involves only a minority of players. He says the football industry is not just about the World Cup, however important it may be. At the World Cup opening ceremony in June, Infantino mentioned discussions about expanding to 64 teams for the World Cup centenary in 2030, which will be co-hosted primarily by the Spain, Portugal, and Morocco, with Paraguay, Uruguay, and Argentina also welcoming some games. And when Spain hosts the World Cup, or co-hosts the World Cup in 2030, it's going to be the first time that a team that are the World Cup holders are hosting the World Cup at the same time. It's never been done before. All right, let's move on. Let's see now. Respected local sports analyst Leighton Levy says that he's not a fan of the hydration breaks used during the recent World Cup football finals. Levy says this should be the last time football used this type of stoppage on the field.
No, the only time I think hydration breaks should be employed or implemented is if the weather conditions are such that dictate that the players need to hydrate because of the heat and the environmental conditions. This hydration break thing for me is an insult to the game. Because why? Here's why I think the hydration bricks are. Let's say a team is down 1-0 and they find a stretch. Games are ebbs and flows. And a team finds a rhythm and equalizes and is on momentum to perhaps get a second break. Then the game stops for 3 minutes and gives the other team a chance to set up and then change strategy.
And of course, there were 104 games at the World Cup, and all of them had a 3-minute hydration break midway each half of the game. And of course, Leighton Levy is not alone, because the technical director at the local Premier League campaigners, Montego Bay United, Xavier Gilbert, echoed similar sentiments.
I don't agree with it. I think unless the conditions, of course, and it's needed. FIFA may probably, or the World Cup in general generated over 80 billion, and I mean, and that's where they're taking the part of the sport in terms of how much money they can make. And it is dampening the sport of it. But I still believe that if the time needs it, then you have it. Other than that, get rid of it. I would saw FIFA put in measures where if you come on for treatment, the players can't go to the sideline for instructions or anything like that.
That's Xavier Gilbert. He's technical director of Montego Bay United. And finally, in sports at this time, the 2026 KFC Jabba Basketball Star Search Basketball Life Skills Camp is now 2 days old. Of course, it's taking place at GC Foster College, and President of the local Basketball Association, Paulton Gordon, said the number of participants for the 20th staging is in excess of 100.
Well, this is the 25th staging of the KFC Star Search Camp. Really have to give thanks to the partners, KFC, for sticking it out and ensure that it's a sustainable activity. We have about 110 kids there for this week, inclusive of our under 20 team that will be going to the CAC on Thursday, Friday. We have the coaches, a couple international coaches as well, who are kind of looking around. It's primarily an ID camp and preparing the youngsters for opportunities that might come their way.
The KFC Star Search Camp over the years has been the breeding ground for some of Jamaica's most accomplished basketball players, and Gordon is hopeful the lessons taught will continue to churn out Jamaica's top junior players.
Pretty much that's what we want. We want to expose them to what is required to move forward in terms of their scholastic background and all. Prep them as it relates to opportunities for activities beyond high school. So we are indeed happy that we can do this for over the last 25 years. We have had a number of players who have emerged have gotten into colleges overseas, working in their field of choice after their degree, and there are some who are playing internationally. Kenton CSA, Lati Badir, who are playing internationally, having emerged from camps of this nature.
Paulton Gordon. And before we go, just an update from Barbados. 23 without loss to West Indies in search of 269 to win. Akimo Geese is on 14 and Justine Greaves on 7. 23 without loss, which means they require a further 245 runs from 46 overs and 2 balls to win the game. That's sports. Come back with us tomorrow morning. That's on Wednesday morning with Tona. She'll have sports during news at 6.
The vibes, the laughs, and the real talk, then you're one of us. Don't just listen, belong. Join the Nationwide 90 FM Family Club on Patreon.
For all your electrical needs, visit ABC Electrical Sales. They stock a wide variety of electrical supplies, including plugs, switches, panel boards, and conduits, plus energy-saving fixtures. ABC Electrical Sales stocks brands like GE, Siemens, Philips, Cutler Hammer, and Allen Bradley. They also offer free island-wide delivery just to suit your needs. Visit them at Shop 8, Hagley Park Plaza, Kingston 10, or call 876-754-3714-5 or 876-754-3825-8. ABC Electrical Sales, for a better choice in the electrical business.
Every great project starts at Creative Building Finishes, Jamaica's only choice for the best tiles, best bathrooms, and best kitchens. Whether you're designing, building, renovating, or selecting materials for your next project, we offer exceptional quality, standout designs, and expert guidance you can trust. Visit our showroom in Kingston or Draxall, or explore our full range online at www.creativebuildingfinishes.com. Creative Building Finishes, your beautiful finish begins here.
Hey, Miss Sandra, wait, why you look so? You alright?
Girl, I really need to advertise my business, but I don't know where to put my money.
Simple. Advertise on Nationwide 90 FM.
But I'm already advertising on your radio airwaves using your hot listings, promo deal, and more.
Yeah, those are good. But I'm talking about social media.
Social media?
Yeah, girl. Let me get a rundown. So, they have over 518,000 followers across platforms. In 2025 alone, their Facebook posts reached over 63 million users. Yeah, million. Their Instagram posts reach over 130 million users. Over TikTok, those videos gained over 13 million views. And on Twitter, X, the content was seen at least 49 million times. One more you really gotta ask for.
So them a go on bad? That's some serious exposure, man.
Exactly. With all of them reach our nationwide gear, your business now gonna just touch road. It gonna touch sky. Advertise your business on nationwide social media platform them now.
Come, give me them number there, quick.
Alright, come. Ready. 876-630-1210. You have that? 876-630-1210. Or you can send them an email. sales@nationwidenewsnetwork.com.
Attention all data protection enthusiasts. Tune in to Nationwide 90 FM every Tuesday at 8:20 a.m. and Thursday at 8:25 a.m. for Data Protection Matters. Join us as we delve into crucial topics that will keep you informed and compliant. Data Protection Matters is hosted by Chuck Cameron, founder of Design Privacy, your trusted partner in data protection. Don't miss out. That's every Tuesday morning at 8:20 and every Thursday at 8:25 a.m. Stay protected, stay informed with Nationwide 90 FM and Design Privacy.
Turn up the heat with Hot Listing, Nationwide 90 FM's new on-air and online classifieds feature. If you have a car for sale, room for rent, or yard sale come up. If you look at work or need stuff. If you provide a service, make it a Hot Listing, Nationwide 90 FM's new on-air and online classified segment. Your listing plays again and again. From morning till evening. You sing it, we play it. You say it once, Jamaica hears it all day, every hour. Contact our sales team now at 876-630-1210 or sales@nationwidenewsnetwork.com. Hot Listings on Nationwide 90 FM, a new revolution in media.
The Nation's Business is brought to you by the Jamaica International Financial Services Authority, promoting transparency, trust, and sustainable investment growth.
Good evening, listeners and viewers. Welcome back. It's time for the Nation's Business. Again, I'm your host, Siobhan Campbell. But before we get into that, just an advisory from the National Works Agency. It's advising motorists to exercise extreme caution at this time in using the main road from Mineral Heights to Lionel Town in Clarendon. A section of the road embankment in the vicinity of the Vere Technical High School has failed, reducing the corridor to single-lane traffic. Manager of Communication and Customer Services at the NWA, Stephen Shaw, says that the affected section measures over 6 meters wide and 4 meters deep and presents serious dangers to road users. The corridor is known to carry heavy vehicles, transporting aggregates. Operators of these units are being urged to be particularly cautious cautious in using the road at this time. The affected section of the road has been cordoned off. The NWA is requesting that members of the public do not attempt to remove any of the impediments that have been put down as warning to motorists. Mr. Shaw says that the NWA is carrying out investigations into the cause of the failure, especially as there is no known drainage system in the immediate area. And that has been an advisory from the National Works Agency. Well, on the same matter of transport now, we are turning to the issues of the proposed toll rate increases for the North-South Highway. Transport operators are raising some concerns over those proposed increases, warning that higher costs could place additional pressure on both operators and commuters. The proposed adjustments have sparked criticism from industry groups, with some describing the increases as an unfair burden on the transportation sector. They say they're already facing rising expenses, including fuel, vehicle maintenance, insurance, and other operational costs. They're calling on the government to intervene before the new rates take effect at the end of the month. Under the new rates, Class 1 vehicles will pay a capped toll rate of $2,610 each way between Caymanas and Ocho Rios. Class 2 vehicles would pay $5,220 one way, and Class 3 vehicles, including larger trucks, would pay $7,830. Following the announcement, Transport Minister Darrell Vaz said the Holness administration continues to have dialogue with toll operators in a bid to get a more favorable deal for motorists.
We are aware. We are trying our best to have good faith negotiations, as we did with the extension of the Williamsfield Highway recently, to get some better terms. But a contract is a contract, and the government has to observe the conditionalities of those contracts.
That's Darrell Vaz, Transport Minister. Well, joining us to discuss the concerns from the transport sector are the President of the Kingston chapter of the Jamaica Union of Travelers Association, JUTA Tours, Noel Williams, and President of the All Voice Taxi Association, Lorraine Oscar Finnegan. Good evening.
Good evening, Nationwide.
Good
evening to you, good evening to your listeners.
Good evening to you both. Starting with you there, Noel Williams, do you think the operators were given enough time and consultation before the rates were brought in, or did this come as a bit of a shock?
Well, this has come to us as a bit of shock, because we were not anticipating any toll increase at this time. Given the fact that we constantly having these toll increase, we would have thought more than less, given this whole situation that is currently affecting our operation in terms of the price increase in trade and other, as you mentioned, insurance and many other overhead costs for operational purposes. We were not anticipating at any time soon for another toll increase, and that's why we are coming out about this toll at this time, because it is unacceptable that we will be asked to pay an additional toll cost at this time.
Under the circumstances, to what extent or what percentage really would the toll fall in terms of your operational expenses as a member of JUTA?
Well, in a situation where we are to pass the increase on to the persons who are hiring our service to transport. Of course, our transportation system is one of the largest operational transportation systems in Jamaica in terms of tour companies, because we combine of three companies that we recognize as the three main tour operators in Jamaica, which is JUTA, JCAL, and Maxi Tour. And when we look at the situation, we realize that it's going to have a lot of effect on us. And one of the main things that we have concern about, though, is the fact that this toll will continue to be increased every year because of a contract that is said to be written, our contract that is signed. And we are
50-year concession contract, yes.
Right. So we are saying to the government of the day, it has been said that the contract was signed by the previous administration. However, we are saying to this current government that there has to be a way. And that is why we are calling on the toll authority to put this increase on hold for at least another year, so as to give the government some time to have some discussion where that is concerned, to see how best they can renegotiate the contractual arrangement. Because if we're going to have this toll increase every year, then it is just not good for the public. And when we talk about the toll, we're not just talking about Juta toll and massive. We're talking about the public in general who are using the toll, who have to pay these exorbitant price each time this toll increase. And it is not looking good for us in terms of what we earn. And it's constant, because we know we'll have to be asked to pay $7,600 for one way to Ocho from Kingston. That is just crazy. I think this is considered to be a highway robbery.
Please stay with us, gentlemen. We're up on a break, and then we come right back.
Drive the most exciting new vehicles in Jamaica. Schedule your 2024 Ford Ranger pickup or Ford Everest 7-seater SUV test drive now. Call or visit KIG today.
The time by KIG is...
It's 6:33. Welcome back, listeners and viewers, to the Nation's Business. We're talking about the proposed toll rate increases coming for the North-South Highway. Just some way of context, that highway is operated, the Edward Seaga Highway, rather, as it is more popularly known, is operated under the Jamaica North-South Highway Company Limited, the JNSHC, which has a 50-year concession arrangement, but the toll rates are regulated by the Toll Authority of Jamaica, and the physical asset itself is held by the state-owned National Road Operating and Construction Company Limited, but it is operated under a 50-year concessional contract to essentially a private entity. We're talking with the president of the Kingston chapter of the Jamaica Union of Travelers Association, Tours, Noel Williams, and president of the All Voice Taxi Association, Lorraine Oscar Finnekin. Before we get to you, Mr. Finnekin, I do want to ask you, Noel Williams, what was the toll rate before this what is the toll rate currently before this proposed increase? What is it currently that JUTA members pay to make that trip from Kingston to Ocho Rios?
Well, previously we would have been paying $14,700 before now.
So I'm assuming that's splitting in two ways. So what would be the one-way trip?
The one-way trip would have been 7,000. What was it? I think it was 7,300 or somewhere about here.
So it's moving to 7,800. So about $500, $400 increase.
Yes, it's somewhere within that region. I think it should be right now.
And you consider that 400 excessive, or is more the concern that it could be a year upon year increase?
It's a more of a concern that this is, because this is something that is constantly happening every year. We're having this increase. And I'm saying if we continue at this rate of increase every year, come by 2030, then we're going to have to pay $20,000 for this coaster from Kingston to Ocho and back to Kingston. If you check out at the rate that is currently going, if they continue to have this same increase, then by 2030 we're going to pay $20,000 for a coaster to travel through the toll from Kingston to Ocho Rios. And I'm saying, when you travel elsewhere across the world and you see what people pay for toll elsewhere, it is far different from what we have been asked to pay here. And I think this is just an unfair situation, and that's why we are saying to the government, you have to find a way to get us out of the situation where this whole situation in country, because it is unfair to the traveling public.
And under the circumstances, because as the minister said, a contract is a contract, are there any alternative arrangements that you could consider beneficial at this time to at least keep the impact of the toll within, say, reasonable margins on your pockets?
We are not seeing any other way right now, because, I mean, transportation is what make your economy move, because everything happens, transportation is needed. And the only other alternative that we can look at right now in order not to use the toll or to pay this toll, is for the government to make the other roads, fix the other roads, so as people can have a choice whether to use the toll or to use the original road. But at this time, the original road, the condition of the road, people are trying to avoid using those roads, because when you have to use those roads, then of course you're going to damage your vehicle more and more, and you're going to cost you more and more every day. But at the same time, the toll is taking some kind of advantage of us using the toll, and we are saying to them, I think they need to look to the public and listen to the public and realize that we are asking for the toll to be put on hold for this term at least until there's something can work out with the government.
And Lorraine Finnegan, are you still there with us?
I'm here.
Under the circumstances, Lorraine, what do you believe in terms of the potential, I want to say, solution to the current problem under circumstances where this is a private company managing its own, what it believes to be appropriate rate increases under the circumstances of its contract? Do you see an alternative arrangement as to how the government can assist you with handling the cost?
The alternative arrangement from the government is if the government can renegotiate the present contract that exists. One of them understand that the toll authority, as just with any other business, go into business to make money. Yes. And as their overhead expenses and their operational costs increase, they are going to pass it on. They are going to increase theirs. The public transportation sector, and I'm speaking specifically now, this part of the sector that is regulated and controlled by government, where we have to wait on government to get a fare increase. And the fare increase comes like anywhere between 5 and 8 years. So our members that have to use the toll because of the convenience, the shorter distance, and not able to encounter with the bad roads where the original roads are concerned, are forcing those respect to use the toll. And so while the toll increased every year, they are not in a position to increase their cost. So the alternative of the government, in my view, is to negotiate or renegotiate the contract that is presently in place. That is one. And two is, if they can find a way, and I'm speaking about the government now, to put a hold on the increase for some time, because when we look at the Williamsfield leg of the toll road, the Prime Minister of Jamaica have put a hold on the citizens of this country paying for the Williamsfield leg for over a year,
But remember, as I tried to explain, the context of that highway versus the north-south highway are very different.
So the point I'm trying to make is that we would have been calling on the government to put a hold now for at least 12 months on the basis that the present situation in the Middle East, where the increase in gas prices is concerned, and also those gas prices cause other operational costs and expenses of our members to be increased. The other alternative is for us as a sector to now reach out to the toll authority to negotiate a concessionary price for our members, because that can be worked out also. But while we are not comfortable with the increase is going to be costing more on our overhead expense. It's going to be costing more on our commuters. There are some things that we will ask the government to do, which I've just mentioned, but there are other things that as a sector we can reach ourselves to do also.
And what would that concession? And what would that concessionary arrangement look like? Are you talking about a credit to the operators themselves in order to go through the toll, or are you talking about a discounted rate?
Well, what I would be looking at is a discounted rate for the PPV sector, and in a discussion at Road Safety Council meeting in 2025. The representative from the toll authority, when I made my presentation, he stated that it is an argument that the toll authority would be willing to sit and discuss. And that discussion would be around a concessionary rate for the PPV sector, because our members would have used the toll minimum 4 round trips.
One would assume that both you and the JUTA members would be the most regular users of that toll.
Where the PPV sector is concerned, that is correct.
So based on what you're telling me, Mr. Finnegan, you've had some positive interaction with the minister in terms of addressing this so far.
Oh no, not the minister. With the
toll authority.
Yes, we have been having discussion from last year. It is just for us in the sector to follow up those discussions, and the discussion we had with them at that particular meeting was around all the toll roads across Jamaica that the PPV operators will use throughout the better part of 7 days per week.
Understood. And Noel Williams, you heard there from Mr. Finnegan that a concessionary arrangement somehow to ease the burden on the operators utilizing that corridor. Would that be appropriate? Or sorry, would that be amenable to you?
Well, one of the things that I'm looking at, I'm not sure how will that work though, because that will become in a very technical way for you to exempt the PPV vehicle or to identify the PPV vehicle when they're going to be using the toll. I'm thinking that might be a very difficult part to really deal with.
But wouldn't your membership as JUTA members have proper registration and markings to say I am a JUTA member? I don't know how beyond us that would be.
Yes, all of our vehicles would have marked JUTA on the vehicle, but I'm just thinking, it's to me, we had that conversation before, but I'm just thinking that it might be a very difficult path. But if that is the case, and if they can even grant us that kind of privilege, then we would have accepted it, But for right now, I am just saying that something needs to happen in terms of the toll. And as you mentioned about there's a contractual arrangement with the authorities on the private arrangement, but I'm still thinking that the government still can sit with these people and have a discussion on behalf of the user of the toll, because that's the only way we can probably get a solution to what is happening here. Because the real concern is that toll is going to be increased this year and it's going to be increased next year. So there's seems like it's not going to be an ending in stopping increasing. It's going to constantly increase. So how is that going to happen? How is that going to work for the motorists? As Mr. Finnegan mentioned about the expensive operation of the vehicle in terms of even the purchasing of the gas and all of those things to travelers. It's hard, and it's a burden that we have been bearing, and we cannot afford to pass on these increases to the customers at all times. So it is also unfair to the customers for us to pass on the increase to the customers.
I hear you. That's President of the Kingston chapter of the Jamaica Union of Travelers Association, JUTA Tours, Noel Williams. And we also have with us the President of the All Voice Taxi Association, Lorraine Oscar Finnegan. Gentlemen, thank you for joining me this evening.
Thank you.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you.
We take a quick break, listeners, and come back with Around the World, where we go to Guyana for that unfortunate, tragic incident.
The Jamaica International Financial Services Authority promotes Jamaica as a jurisdiction for international financial services. Visit JIFSA at jifsa.gov.jm. The time by JIFSA is...
It's 6:46.
For all your electrical needs, visit ABC Electrical Sales. They stock a wide variety of electrical supplies, including plugs, switches, panel boards, and conduits, plus energy-saving fixtures. ABC Electrical Sales stocks brands like GE, Siemens, Philips, Cutler Hammer, and Allen Bradley. They also offer free island-wide delivery just to suit your needs. Visit them at Shop 8, Hagley Park Plaza, Kingston 10, or call 876-754-3714-5 or 876-754-3825-8. ABC Electrical Sales, for a better choice in the electrical business.
Valley, we a big deal when we touch ground. Yeah, I can see when we're pulling up. Anything for the taste, what we love. Barbecue spicy and original, flavorful, crispy, irresistible. 3-piece with the fries and a Pepsi. Bro, get your one big deal, stop stress me. All when we dip on the toilet, no left foot. It's a big deal.
Anything for the taste of a juicy, crunchy, irresistible KFC, big deal. 3 pieces of delicious chicken, fries and Pepsi. KFC, it's finger licking good.
Nationwide this morning, the Big Show helps to make your loved ones feel extra special on their birthday. Listeners, send in your birthday and anniversary greetings. We will play a special song chosen just for you. Come celebrate with us during our birthday club every week at 8:18 a.m. right here on Nationwide 90 FM. Join the revolution in media. Every day, Jamaicans have something to say. In the group chats, on social media, in the streets, there's a place where it all comes together. The comment section. This is not a lecture. This is not a call-in show. This is the hottest topics of the day, filtered through real opinions, real WhatsApp messages, real voice notes, real reactions. You agree, disagree, sound off, text it, voice note it, debate it. Comments section, Monday to Friday from 7 to 7:30 p.m. only on Nationwide 90 FM, the new revolution in media.
Welcome back, listeners and viewers, for Around the World. As said, we are going to Guyana. That tragic incident regarding the capsized ferry. The captain and first engineer of that ferry was on the weekend. Have been arrested. According to the Trinidad Express, they have both tested positive for narcotics. The MV Barima capsized 7 miles offshore while traveling from Georgetown to Port Kaituma on Saturday. It was carrying more than 170 people, including 18 crew members. As of Monday afternoon, reports indicate that the death toll had risen to 27 and was expected to increase as bodies continued to be recovered from the water. 67 people had been rescued. In the meantime, governments across CARICOM have been expressing sympathy and support for Guyana following the tragic incident. In a statement, CARICOM said it was deeply saddened by the tragedy and continued to closely monitor the ongoing search and rescue operation. Jamaica's Prime Minister, Dr. Andrew Holness, said he was deeply saddened by the capsizing and expressed solidarity with President Irfan Ali, the government and people of Guyana. Similar expressions came from the leaders of the Bahamas, Belize, St. Kitts and Nevis, and Trinidad and Tobago, which is assisting in the recovery effort. The United States Embassy in Guyana and the Embassy of the People's Republic of China also conveyed its sympathy and assistance. Well, for an update, we're now being joined by the managing editor at the Demerara Waves Online News, Dennis Chabrol. Good evening.
Good evening to you and to your listeners.
Good evening to you, Mr. Chabrol. Siobhan Campbell here from Nation. Chabrol. Am I saying that correct? Chabrol.
Chabrol.
Mr. Chabrol, it's good to hear from you. So please, under the circumstances, explain to us where we stand now in terms of the search and rescue. Any additional information found as to how many people have been rescued, how many bodies have been found?
Yes, well, actually, I'm just out of a press conference by the Prime Minister of Guyana, as well as the Public Works Minister and the head of the Maritime Administration, among others. And the latest statistics we have coming out of that press conference is that 76 persons have so far been rescued based on verification with family members. 53 bodies have been recovered, about 22 today. And 26 of those 53 bodies have been positively identified. The search and rescue and even recovery continues. I think rather suspect that they're shifting more and more into the recovery mode. The Prime Minister also indicated today that divers from the French military assisted local divers in going down to the wreckage on the seafloor, but they were unable to bring up any bodies. In fact, they only saw one body but they have not been able to extract that body so far and will in fact continue. We were also informed that members of the Trinidad Coast Guard and the Brazilian Navy are due in Guyana tomorrow to join other counterparts in the diving exercises as part of the recovery aspect of the operation.
I know it is early days yet, and I'm sure a lot of further investigations need to take place before we have a firm understanding as to what took place. But the captain and first engineer were arrested. Do we understand what they were arrested for in terms of the charges? Is it specifically in relation to the capsizing, or is it about, as suggested, they had narcotics in their body?
Well, it is because they were tested positive for cannabis after they were first contacted following the incident. And according to authorities, they did not leave the area to suggest that they may have used cannabis elsewhere away from the vessel. So for all intents and purposes, the allegation is that they used the cannabis, they smoked the marijuana while they were aboard the vessel. We were told this evening that they remain in custody and they have already given statements. Counseling is available to them, not because of the marijuana usage, but they themselves were victims of the mishap.
So under the circumstances, are the authorities suggesting that human error may have been at fault here, or some kind of structural defect? Do we have any understanding as to what could be the cause of this accident?
Well, initially we were told that a big wave knocked the boat and it capsized. We have not been given anything more specific other than that. We don't know if it might have been due to the captain error, given the fact.
Mr. Chabral? There, it seems we've lost him. We'll try to get him back. We have a few minutes left, but we'll still try to get him back just to get that information in. So, listeners, if you're listening in, 76 people rescued so far from that capsizing incident in Guyana. I understand we have you back, Mr. Chabral? No, I'm not hearing him. As I said, 76 people have been rescued out of 170 people who are on board. If I recall him, he said 56 people have lost their lives as a result of what took place there in Guyana. Mr. Chabral, are you there now?
Yes.
Yes. So you were saying that you were trying to get some information from the authorities as to what potentially took place that led to the capsizing?
No, we were told initially that the big waves lashed the vessel, and that caused it to eventually go down. But as I was also saying, we do not know whether this had anything to do with captain error as a result of the fact that the captain and the crew member were actually smoking marijuana. The fact of the matter that the other crew members have not been rescued, so we only have 2 persons by which to go by as far as marijuana consumption was concerned.
And for a lot of people using the ferries to get through that particular area, it's just a daily and almost normal part of their lives. And I can't imagine these are incidents that happen very frequently. So was there a concern about how many people were potentially on board the vessel at the time that may have led to the issue? Do you have any information coming from the authorities as to just a concrete reason as to why the wave could have capsized that vehicle? Or I should say vessel.
No, we don't have any concrete reason why the wave would have capsized the vessel. We know that is a plane that is being laid, and we also know that several of the persons who were rescued were not on the manifest, and that automatically triggered a concern with whether, in fact, that all of the passengers were actually legally aboard the vessel, or they had paid members of the crew to go on the vessel as part of a backdoor arrangement, so to speak. So the fact now is that the authorities do not really know for sure how many persons were aboard the vessel. They had to resort to video footage at the Georgetown wharf where the vessel was loading to come up with an estimate of just over 170 persons, I think 179 persons who had been on the vessel. So, I mean, these things are somewhat complicated. Compliance with safety procedures and all of that by passengers is also a big issue here, because by and large, one is going on a 11-hour journey from Georgetown to Port Kaituma around the Atlantic Sea. People basically use the seats on the vessel to sleep. Others tie hammocks to catch a nap on their way up. So it's almost inconceivable for passengers to wear the safety gear as is being recommended.
So definitely some concerns here about the regulations of those ferries.
Yes.
That is managing editor at the Demerara Waves Online News, Dennis Chabrol. Thank you for joining us this evening, and our sympathies and condolences here from Nationwide News for you and the people of Guyana. Thank you for joining us.
You're welcome.
Well, we have to leave it there, listeners. Thank you for joining us for Nationwide at 5. Please stay tuned for the comment section with Shalois Michael and Mahiri Stewart. I've been your host, Siobhan Campbell. Thanks to our super producer, Dana Davey, with the assistance of Rihanna Fullerton. And thanks to our technical operator for the evenings, or technical operators. We had both Damian Cunningham and David McNeish. And thanks to the best news and production department led by the very capable Cara Powell. I've been your host, and I hope you have a pleasant evening. Thank you.
The Nation's Business was brought to you by the Jamaica International Financial Services Authority, promoting transparency, trust, and sustainable investment growth.